Good morning. It's Monday, and it's the 7 o'clock in the morning. I've already gone and picked up Toby, and I've put him to bed upstairs, so I'm talking lower than normal. But things changed as of today. His big brother has gone to college, so I can't go over and pick him up at his house anymore. I have to meet his mama halfway between her school that she teaches at and my house. And it's still dark when I get there, and he's going to be so tired. So I just told him to go upstairs and take a nap. He's going to be here to probably 7 o'clock tonight, so we can get our school done anytime. That's the beauty of homeschooling. If it's a early morning and we want to take some time, we can. Uh, well, we finished our whole first week of school. I did an update on day one and day two, and then I didn't do any more after that. And I thought I'd wait to see how the whole week went and give you a idea of how things are progressing. And he's just had a blast. He's enjoyed every bit of it. And what we normally do is we do Bible first thing, and right now we're working our way through the stories of the judges. We've done Deborah and Gideon, and I guess today we'll do Samson. And I keep a board over here with everything written on, and he checks them off when we finish. And we don't have to go in that order. After we do Bible, we do math, and he's working through that color math right now and doing about two to 2.5 lessons a day, because first 2 days we just did one, but he got into the sync of it and the flow of it, and it's all review for him since he's really in seventh grade math. But I decided that through August we'd just work through this fourth grade color math, which is a very advanced fourth grade program, very well rounded. If you wanted to use it, it's got a little geometry, it's got manipulatives, it's got patterning. We have been through 3 digit, like $325.06 plus $708 plus 10 cents. We've done multiplication. Done addition and subtraction with that. And the multiplication has just been pretty easy multiplication, just getting him back in the flow. And not much division except fractions, and we are making reducing fractions or changing them in to decimals. And so sometimes you do that through addition, sometimes you do that through division, sometimes you can do it through multiplication. There's different ways that you can get a fraction into a decimal, and he's not had any trouble with any of this. And so, like I said, he's doing 2 to 2.5 lessons a day. Then he gets to start choosing what we do next, and he changes it up every day. We may do Texas history first, and we're really enjoying learning all about the blue bonnets being our flower, pecan tree our tree, longhorn our big mammal, all those things. And now we're in the middle of a timeline of Texas, and we're up to, I think, the Revolutionary War, which, well, that would be U.S. history, but we're up to that time here, like the 1770s. And I said, let's stop that on the timeline because we don't want to get too far into the U.S. history, because we want to do U.S. history at the same time. And so we need to finish these chapters in Texas history on geography first. So we're going to skip the rest of the timeline. We're going to go right into the geography, and I think that will be about 3 chapters. Then we start the history of Texas, and at that point we can start the history of the United States too, which will probably be in the afternoon. Texas history in the morning, U.S. in the afternoon, and then we can see how they meld together. Then cursive, we've only done it one day. We said we'd make it Friday, and he went through like 4 to 7 letters on Friday, and capitals and little letters. He has done the alphabet twice, but we're going to do them again. His printing really has gotten worse over the summer. He had gotten down to printing pretty good, but not doing it in the summer, it's really gone back to being big again. And so I think we're going to have to work on printing again too, not just the cursive. I really hope that once we got into the cursive, he could get his movements smaller and smoother to where he wouldn't be dropping the pencil as much. And he really hasn't dropped the pencil but twice last week. So that's a big improvement from the many he was dropping per day. Greek, we have done 2 or 3 days now. We've watched videos on the story how to learn it to say the alphabet, and 3 different alphabet songs. And then we did a video Friday where he actually wrote some of he wrote the whole alphabet, big letter, little letter, in a chart, and where you do big letter alpha, little alpha, alpha, write the word alpha, and then the A, that it makes the same sound in the English alphabet. And we did the whole alphabet Friday that way. And then I'm reading Little Women to him. I keep looking over there because that's my board. I'm reading Little Women to him. He's not liking it as much as he did Heidi and Anne of Green Gables, but his mother's doing that play, and I wanted him to be familiar with the story when we go to the play next month. Okay, then language. We're doing so many things in language. That was his lowest score on the Stanford 10 test last year at the end of third grade. He was post high school on everything else but language. And reading comprehension was third grade, 8th month, which was when he took the test. So he was right on target. And language was fourth grade, 4th month, I believe. And so those are the two, the ones we're doing the most of right now is reading comprehension and language. Even though we have all these other subjects, we only spend maybe 15 minutes on most of them except math. And language, we spend a lot more time. Now, we have done, uh, started making our book of the parts of speech. He's got the artwork done for the article and the noun. He's written his uh, rough draft of the sentences he's going to use to make the definition of article and noun. He just hasn't put it in the final print because I wanted his writing to get better before we did. So I've kind of postponed that. We're still doing the Winston grammar upstairs with the little cards laying out the parts of speech. And then we've been doing some uh, Khan's Academy. We love it. Love it. It's kind of hard to figure out how it goes, though, because it's not self-explanatory. I guess it is self-explanatory. There's nothing there telling you how to do it. So we were just clicking on doing the activities, and it wasn't making a lot of sense to us. And we weren't able to get in on the commenting because you need to be signed in for 3 days and have so many points. But it didn't tell us how to get the points. Well, so the other day we went back to lesson one because we had gone to lesson three and done some of the activities, and it just wasn't making a lot of sense to us how it was working. Um, so we went back and watched the lesson one videos, and then we got it. Well, you're supposed to watch the videos, then you start doing the activities, and the activities then have reading for you to do from the videos, which we were missing all that. And he loved they gave the whole history of superheroes, starting from the 1930s during the Depression up to today. And what was so cool about that, because we'd already been through the videos and stuff, the language that uh, what they were looking for us to do, then it made sense the activities, because the activities was a history of that reading passage. And so we got to go back and make sure we understood that the first superheroes was during the Depression, and then different Japanese superheroes, Chinese superheroes, um, and then the questions they ask about the reading made sense to us, what we were supposed to be doing. So he's enjoying that, and we don't still have enough energy points to comment. I think you have to have 5,000, and we're up to 18,500. Yeah. So we're going to have to watch several more videos, because most of your points comes from watching the videos. And then the activities are only like half that many points. So don't just do the activities, because you really need to build up those points of listening to David uh, do the videos. Now, it's not Saul. Saul does all the math, but this David guy is doing the language arts, and it's language, reading, vocabulary. Uh, I think it's maybe going to be some spelling too. But so far, they've hit most of the bases, and he's really, really enjoying that. So I think we're going to keep up with that cons and not go back to some kind of workbook, because that's what we did all last year, was work through workbooks. And I just think kids get tired of that. They like being on their computers some. So that's what we're doing there. Okay, now remember, these are not the order we're doing it. He gets to choose these orders. Reading. Reading private out loud, we're reading through that book I showed y'all last time, and we're really enjoying those stories. And we read 2 stories a day. One is shorter, and then there'll be a longer story. And there's usually a story about the author's life too, and he likes reading that. I think he might could turn out to be an author someday. It might surprise me, because every day on his Fuzzy Good Book, it seems like everything he's writing is journal. Journal was the highlight of the day. Journal was the highlight of the day. And journal is his writing. Is he gets to write. I give him a subject to write about. And most of last week was summer, so he did a whole bunch of days of summers. And then I said, if you're tired of doing summer, make a Christmas tradition journal. All right, so reading is reading that book, and then writing is the journal. Now we're art. I'm doing art inside several subjects, not just let's go do art today, but like the pictures for the article and the noun was art. In math, he had tangrams to copy a pattern they did and then trace it off, and I'm letting paint that with real paint. So he got that. So he's getting art in his other subjects. U.S. history we haven't started. We won't start it till we get to the history of Texas. Science, we have we're in our second lesson of science, and it is a book, fourth grade book. And he was post high school on science, so really, I think doing a fourth grade, third grade, fourth grade science books, um, it's just keeping him in the science game, because he did AP biology with his brother 2 years ago online. And that gave him such a foundation for science that all these third and fourth grade science are like play to him. It's not challenging. So we're doing a lot of work with vocabulary, and we're taking our Texas history vocabulary words and our science vocabulary words and making cards to play games with it. And that's going to be our vocabulary and spelling, rather than doing a separate vocabulary and spelling program in a workbook. And again, he made 100 on spelling and vocabulary on his Stanford. It gave him a post high school grade equivalent. So that's just to keep him in it. It's not really to build those subjects up because he's already got a great vocabulary. Spelling, he's not really good on the little words. Like the ones he gets frustrated on is was and were and what. But give him constitution, he'll sound them out and get it eventually. So, gifted children are not known for their spelling abilities. I don't know why. I've sat through all the conferences, but they just say, don't expect a gifted child to be a good speller. So, my daughter, who was gifted, was also the school spelling champion 4 years in a row. So, she doesn't fit that mold at all. All right. And then after science, music. He learned two lines of the Texas song and then went back to his last year's music book he enjoys better. And he likes to play the old songs that he's more familiar with. So I took a video and put it on Facebook of him doing Beautiful, Beautiful Brown Eyes, which he has changed to Beautiful, Beautiful Blue Eyes. Um, uh, the song Marianne down by the seashore sifting sand. He plays that. And Alleluia, he did that one. So he's reviewing his old songs, and I think that starting a brand new song like the Texas and doing two whole lines was starting to be tiring. He wanted something that made him feel confident, and he'll probably still work on the new song a little bit each day, but also play two or three of the old songs to keep himself limbered up. Uh, Silent reading is next, and we have checked out a bunch of library biographies on Texas history people, mostly Texas history in the Alamo. This is the one he's working through now, and it is smaller print, and it started when he was a child, and he's now got him up to Texas, I think he said. So this is his silent reading, and if we're going to be in the car a while, that's when he does it. Be it that way that we're not taking time away from home. Once he gets to this one, Davy Crockett, I read it here in about 5 minutes. It's like for first grade level, but it was the only Davy Crockett book the library had, so we couldn't be choosy. And then he's got Stephen F. Austin Fannin and a Hispanic name that I wasn't familiar with, and we haven't got it yet. It's on hold for us, and once they get it to our library, we'll go pick it up. And the last thing on my board is his Fluffy Good Day book. And so that's where we are. Let me see how much time I've taken. Okay, I wanted to tell you about something I learned in some new conferences I went to. I've been always going to these gifted conferences, but somehow I got into this neurodiversity and the brain conferences. And my YouTube, just once you do one, it rolls you into that same type of thing over and over again, unless you go back out and start choosing what you want to watch on YouTube. But I got really interested in this neuroscience of the brain. And here's some things I've learned: that our brains are very plastic forever, but they do harden up at points, and then they'll open up to plasticity to growth again. And so when we're born, up until the time we turn 10, um, we're using our right and left brain equally. That's why we are learning how to count, learning how to talk, learning how to hear voices and understand the phonetics of them. It's the best time to teach children multiple languages because their brain is so plastic, using both right and left hemispheres. Yeah, that's right. I think that's what they called it. Uh, that it's the best time to learn languages. So, this one scientist said he didn't learn a second language when he before he was 10, and he's trying in his later years to learn languages. And he says his little son, he'll start doing it with him, and he just picks it up like that, you know. And he said he's getting several languages, and I'm struggling by learning my second language ever, besides English. And he said, it just makes me feel so stupid. But he said, this studying the brain has helped him understand that. So, art also is your right brain. Your left brain is your math, your logic, and working your right hand and stuff. So that's why when you turn 10, the left side of your brain starts taking dominance over your right, and you really have to fight that, or you'll be just totally left brain logical, scholarly, but you won't have an appreciation of music, of art, of anything that deals with the right hemisphere, except gifted students. Gifted students don't lose that hemispheric thing. And I mean, that's quite obvious with my daughter because she's won almost every art contest she ever entered. She made great grades with Texas Tech's high school art program. She's every time I would teach her a new type of art, like watercolor, acrylics, oil paint, uh, did I say watercolor? Yeah, I did. Just drawing. I would introduce her to that, and she'd take that first piece and enter it in the Tri-State Fair in Amarillo and win with it. I gave her uh, lessons on how to make something. I can't even remember what it was she was making, but it was a creation, and she won first place in that too. So we had an art studio together. She's very good with ceramics, and she can paint little tiny lettering. I am so horrible at that. I mean, I have all these art paintings and stuff that I do throughout my house, but putting my name on is such a struggle. I can't do little tiny letters. But we would do birthday parties where I'd take the thumbs of all the kids at the birthday party and make a flower scene with little bugs, and I would write in a pencil their names by it because pencil will burn off in the ceramic oven. She would then come then on Monday and paint each child's name on their thumb around their thumbprint, so that when we ran that memory plate off of the birthday person, they could keep it forever and see who all came to their birthday parties. And we used parents as the leaves on the plants, and little brothers and sisters would be the ladybugs on the flowers. Boys would be centipedes and frogs and spiders. And there was everybody always wanted to spend the money on the memory plate because they loved it. But she's really, really good at that kind of stuff. And here she is, a theater teacher now, directing plays. So, but she was also valedictorian and had a scholastic scholarship to college and graduated with a 4.0 summa cum laude degree. So she's good both ways, left and right brain. And that's what gifted students usually are. So I'm sure going to try to keep this art stuff going with Toby because I can already see he's leaning to just being left brain because he's so scholarly and loves numbers and loves to build things with his blocks that he sees in his mind, and that's a form of art in a way, but um, it's also very logical. And so I'm trying to get him. I'm going to try to keep him exposed to more. But anyway, so then you go through adolescence, and a new window of learning opens in adolescence. But it's so volatile. You can't tell from day one to day two how your child's mood's going to be. It's because they're going through so much growth and so many changes in their hormones and all that. But the brain is also very plastic during that time, and that's a good window of opportunity. And then this growth of the brain doesn't stop till age 23, but then your brain stays elastic. So these neuroscience conferences on YouTube are very, very interesting. I highly recommend them if you are interested in learning more about how our brains work, because now that they can do live brain imaging, you know, they're learning so much more about how it fires and all that. Where always before they had to look at the dead brains, like Einstein's, that got stolen and now it's found and they've divided it up among a bunch of people. Uh, but it used to be that was the only way they could study the brain. And of course, two of the major geniuses of all time is Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo, who are so much more than just artists. If you study them, Michelangelo was an architect, a builder, and their sculptures are amazing. I mean, look at his one of the great. Uh, uh, what is the word for Mary, Mother of Jesus, the Madonna and Child, and she has one finger sticking out while she's holding him. That was marble. They able to cut the marble to be one little tiny finger on this giant statue. How amazing that was, and how much bravery it took in the artist to do that. But anyway, there's some neuroscience, some videos about Leonardo and Michelangelo. So interesting to see what made that time period in history so many geniuses in art during that time period. And you find out it's through having someone support you and encourage you. And we as homeschoolers can do that for our children. We can be that support and that encourager for their art. Well, this is the end of episode 14, and I hope you enjoyed hearing our first week experiences and progress through our subjects and how YouTube has helped our schooling and me learn about the brain. You have a great week, and may God go with you. Amen. Bye bye.